I was able to have somebody hack the EA. Finally, after 3 years on the internet, somebody sent me a file here, so I don't know if I can post it because I'm waiting to hear back. But this is I call this script tester 1.0, or we could go with a script tester. What is it? Service Pack 1. So here, what you have is the ability for the first time, which is random, with kind of a, I guess the criteria to launch the script is inconsequential. It's about the script itself, if it would trade all the time, I guess, because that's the way this thing's written. There are some frequencies where I can see a little bit more trading, but I can't zoom in on this chart, unfortunately. I don't see a zoom in feature. And maybe there's a better spill out sheet for the data coming out of this thing, but I guess you have to take a snapshot of that. That happens to be the dollar yen. And the exact script that's running is inserted into an EA. Just, I guess it's just hackney how this would run. But I call this buy scalp because it's a very, I don't know if this would execute in real time. I gave it a 2-pip spread, so I think this is all stop entry. Now, I wanted to write a limit one, but that takes time. And somebody asked me, how do you trade demo and real at the same time? And it's pretty much because it's just pretty much trading, I guess, 8 hours a day or something. But I would wake up and trade in the middle of the night. If I saw an opportunity and I had the right trade plan for it, I'll do it. So, or I'll do it even if it doesn't work and I'm not trading demo from where I sleep. So I trade demo when I'm at the desktop and I have access to, because the problem with the tablet is you can't navigate the tablet. You can barely navigate Windows in a way, or even the internet, for God's sakes. Or these goddamn tablets with I'm at my buddy's house for Christmas and my tip fell off my cursor, my what do you call it? It's like a fake pen, but it's stylus. Right, there you go. And so he goes, just use your finger. I'm like, it's not finger food, dude. Chopped off the top of the screen here. We're supposed to say file view insert. It's not. Doesn't work like that. So, but this is kind of exciting if you're into trade plans, because I can design these blow by blow. But this is going to be basically the math for this. I don't know what the criteria for launching. I think it's pretty, oh geez. I think it's just like, just every so many minutes it's going to launch the same script. So I have I activated the stop entry. I also made this a very unique script in the sense that it's progressive. It's going to get in here. If you look at all these numbers, okay, it's very complicated. But it's only going to do one thing. So you're basically wallpapering the market with this one idea. And definitely the stop's critical. Because if I change this from right now, you'd have to imagine this. You're going to have to do like 8 equations here and add it all up to figure out the risk of every one of these tickets. Now, this is getting in a half pip above current on ask. Now, if the market's on fire and your broker's slow, by the time the first one that comes in is the scalp at the top. And if the market happens to be dropping, you got to realize all this. I still have people asking what, like, people ask the funniest question, like, but what this comes down to, if you've ever traded in your life, is, so I just watched the Urban Forex guy be interviewed. And he got burned. And so he thinks, when he does his videos, he says stuff like, he's saying the same thing I'm saying, actually. It's going up. Think about selling. Well, think about selling if it's going up in the time frame that you are. You just got to take a piece of paper and draw this stuff out. You have to imagine scenarios. So Urban Forex guy is saying it's going up. Don't buy. I agree. Unless you can buy right now and you have a target here and a stop here. Right? Just imagine. Just take a piece of paper, a real piece of paper, and draw the market dropping and ask yourself, when do I buy? When do I buy? And you're actually controlling the market with your hand. It doesn't make a difference. The same question should be valid, whether you're drawing the market or it's actually happening tomorrow morning or tonight or it's going screaming up. When do I sell? When do I sell? You've got to sell incrementally, in my opinion, because if you do a hard sell and a hard buy, you'll get whipsawed, or you just get crushed. How many times can you afford to be wrong? Is the question. How many times can you afford to be wrong, and for how much? So in a perfect world, imagine I drop this script, and what's happening is, when do I drop this script? Or when does the robot doesn't care. The beauty of it is that you have purely, I'd say, same criteria entry, whether it's a good criteria or not, whether it's a good setup or not. The setup shit, it's ridiculous. You should have all your orders before the setup. The setup's always on your screen all day long, every fucking day. The setup is always before you. It's you have the patience to wait to get filled on an order that's 180 pips north of you. That's how the only reason why Empowered Trading made money was they'd wait for a stupid entry, they'd get it, they'd run some ratios, they'd take off half the ticket. They were not allowed to scale out. They weren't allowed to trade professionally. They were allowed to trade like goober amateurs. Okay. Let's face it. It's just like saying, the guy that did that video, it's so funny, that if you think to get to Carnegie Hall, you just pick up a piece of wood with horsehair on it and another piece of wood with catgut on it, and you start rubbing them together and you make it to Carnegie Hall. That's musical, supposedly pinnacle of musical performance, that all you do is grab those things and do it. But tactically, how do you do it? How much pressure do you put on the bow? I mean, nobody wants to talk about this. So even this wannabe trader, what's his name? ICT. I don't get it. Like, the guy's complaining that he would not do any kind of PAM account. He wouldn't do it's just not worth it. Well, I mean, then just tell somebody how to do it. And just do that. Right? It's all about what we want to do. He wants to do what he wants to do. He wants to teach people at 5. I saw Samurai Trader will do a private scalping session with you for $400. Great. I mean, if I were to do something like that, I said, listen, if I can't make, here's what I would do. My business model for private training is bring $50 to the session. Let's try to make $20 and the session's free. You make $20, I make $20. I trade what you trade. We both make money. I don't get it, right? Why would I want to have somebody at $400 an hour? I'm thinking, man, I got to get, like, how can I explain to this guy that he's got to stop doing meth, right? How can I explain to this guy he's got to stop screwing hookers, right? I mean, not that you have to be moral to be a money-making trader, but it's funny that the Akil Stokes is such a goof, such a goober, that he's just like, well, I see he's got the RSI expanded on his screen now. Now he thinks he's an RSI trader when he doesn't know dick about it. So funny to watch the videos that they do over there. I'm thinking, Well, all because I know so much, right? People say, "Oh, you just know so much." I do. Sadly, I know too much. In fact, if you know too much, you become a bad trader because now you can see the future, right? Now you over anticipate and you go, "Oh yeah, duh." Um, still not realizing that the market has a dynamic that will allow you to make $400 in 4 minutes and $400 in 1 week. And a lot of people say, well, don't get rich quick. But that's happening. How quick is quick? How the undefined terms of trading get rich quick. Okay. Now, for some people, if they made $1 million in 1 year, they go, Jesus Christ. Guy he didn't make dick for his whole life and he got rich quick. Everything's contextual. It's not any different in trading. So, I mean, get rich slow. He made $1 million in 10 years. Well, the guy made $1 million in a year. Now, let's just keep going. Because in the market, there's a guy that made $1 million in 40 minutes. There's a guy that made $1 million a week trading, I'm sure, in some, whatever, how big he's trading. And maybe he did do it himself. Maybe he was able to delegate that. Now, this is what I've been told. So ever since I've been a self-employed solo artist, people say, well, you have to delegate that to somebody. I go, well, they'll just fuck it up. And they would. So anybody that's ever been on the bleeding edge of something has to realize that if you care about, like, you don't let anybody babysit your kids. I understand people have to hire a babysitter, but things could go terribly wrong. I mean, at least if you fucked it up, you could go, yeah, I fucked up. My kid drowned in the bathtub. I fucked that up. Now, if you delegate that to somebody, like, holy shit. But if you're delegating money, which is just rebuildable, like, it's not like a child, but I guess money represents life power, right? You could go get another chick, right? If you had enough money, you'd be like, okay, that went terribly wrong. They died in a car crash, and I'll just go, instead of reanimating her head like that sci-fi movie, I'll just go get another relationship. But you have to have money for that, and inspiration, and you give a fuck, right? Or you're bitter and you go cynical and you don't do anything. So there's a fork in the road. But then there's also Mother Nature driving you because you have to sleep, you have to wake up. It's funny thing about trading forex in the United States is the London Open. Some people take a nap for that, or some people are just programmed already to wake up at 2 a.m. and go, what the fuck? Or I typically, if I don't sleep more than 3 hours straight, I just look at the monitor and I say, holy shit. If I'm really tired, I just dump everything and go sleep, or just let it go and see what happens. But I'm only trading one instrument. So I'm only raising one dysfunctional child, let's just say. The guy that's trading multiple currency pairs may only be trading 5 trades a week. But I'm pretty much trying to scalp and swing on one instrument. But I see the scalp window. I know how much I can make in a scalp window. I know how much I can make in a swing window. And those numbers are set. Because I've tried to make more with the same scripts, but the scripts are boxing you into a profit. Whether there's a 180 pip winner out there, you would have to jump on a different time frame to ride it to the 180 target. So I'm speaking of just one currency. This is one dysfunctional child you're raising, okay? He's autistic, he can't handle shit that changes, so you don't change shit. Whatever it is. But there's nothing mysterious. So the comments I got yesterday about the somebody comment about old video I did. And I can't seem to get to that screen. Oh, because I'm in the fucking drawing mode here. Yes, I was going to draw, but I didn't. So somebody says they're going to give it a try. Now, really, it's just math. So there's two ways to look at trading. It's either going to be a pure bean counter approach, or it's going to be this artistic, oh, I can see this huge price vacuum, and I can see the climax point. I can see the capitulation zone. I can see the, fill in the blank, the kill zone, the spam zone, they went too far in this one zone, this is overextended, right? And of course, if you're rooting for the counter turn trade, if time is an issue, then you're always going to amplify it would be, impatience is just a product of seeing a target that's not been hit yet, or seeing an entry. In other words, you see it, so you're like, could we just go there already? Like, so that's the problem with trading. In other words, your beginner's luck is going to go away, because now you're the decisions you make may be based on, what's going to happen. It's not a good thing to know what's going to happen. Doesn't mean you can make more money, because you still have to wait for it to happen. In other words, the happening zone, and of course the scalp, the psychotic scalp battle that goes on in the market, or just when the market's really not doing anything. These are the critical times, because it's trading stupid and boring. There's nothing really sexy about it, other than maybe the Gartleys, or all, I just don't, these guys that have the videos where they're driving the big cars, you don't see them trading. You don't see them going, hey man, like, I'm up $1 million, but like, I've got to stop at $500,000. Like, where's their threshold for pain? I mean, where's their threshold for worrying about X dollars? So this whole talk about make money quick, how quick is quick? How big is a loss? Oh, I lost money. I blew up the account. Well, you blew up a $50 account. I mean, it's not that bad. You blew up a $5 million account. That's a problem, right? So you did something terribly wrong, because from the point of a penny, I'm just wondering when they're going to stop producing pennies in the United States. It's costing more to make a penny, a physical penny. I guess they're quaint. There'd be collector's items. Maybe they'll go up in value. I think there's copper-plated zinc at this point. Now, it's just about efficiency. So in the script, going back to the script here, in a perfect world, I would drop this script if the market was either trading sideways or drifting down. Now, which scenario? Going like this, we could get trapped. We could also get trapped here. Now, this is supposed to last for 15 minutes. I don't know if that's happening when I test it. So I'm going to ignore that that's even happening, because I haven't tested it and watched it visually trade this script tester. But it is executing all these guys. And here you have imagine there's no spread, imagine there's no commissions. So like I said, in a perfect world, you're buying 9K, a half a pip above, trailing for 15 minutes supposedly. Or here, it's just boxing in. Every time you drop, so the market's like this. Right? So every time you drop, if you dropped it every 15 minutes, you'd end up with, now these are supposedly expiring, but they could last for, and this is where everything changes drastically. In every metric from here on out, in a way, as far as whether you're going to start over trading this thing. If I make this M30, now in the real world, when I drop this, I already know what's going to happen. But the only thing that robots, EA is doing here, the script tester, is allowing you to see if this is a good stop. So I have a spectrum of stops a half a pip apart all the way to 7.5 pips, and I'm dropping the size as it comes down. Now, I didn't do the math on this. You're welcome to math that out and figure out what each one of these cost you. Total risk here is your stop. So I'm actually trading really small with a 20 pip stop, and I'm going to, with a 7.5 pip stop, I'm going to try to make 20 pips. So this is a good ratio. The size is small. And here is a scalp. I'm just going to try to make 1.5 pips. Now it looks like 2 pips, but I got in late, half a pip above. Plus, if you add the spread on there, I'm not even going to make that. Barely making any money there. So here I dropped the stop by half, and I'm going to make 2 more pips than I would have made here. And it's now, how does that expand? Do you start off with a scalp here and then take profits out to here? Okay, that's all. That is the devil in the details. That is trading. To me, that's planning. It may not be trading, but these are trade plans. You're planning the trade. I mean, it sounds so sophomoric that you could die. You could die how stupid it is. Now, when do you drop that script? Now, that's really aggressive. This is probably like, I don't even know, like 25K. I don't even know. You're adding all this shit, like 30K there. What's the total dollar risk? I don't know. Probably $40. I don't know. I don't even know. And I don't give a fuck because I'm not, like, I would just trade it. I go, you know what? This is like what? $1. So here's $2, $3, $4, $10. Add this shit up roughly. Just imagine it costs $100. I don't even know. I never trade like this, so I wouldn't know. I would never put a 9K on one ticket. So that's the other thing. People think everything I fucking post on this thing is something you should do. No. It's just like when you watch a movie and they got some guy killing 40 people. You don't do that. But the concept holds to be exciting, right? It's an idea, right? You just don't do everything you fucking see. Right? Well, I saw a guy. It's all like, yeah, if you had $1 million in the account, sure. What do you fuck you care about risking X, Now, if I said, well, I don't give a fuck about losing, I can see what the script would do. And like I said, it's very crude. I don't know what exact play out would be here. So if I go to the back to the performance of this one script, now we'll change the time frame, try to remember what I did here. I keep forgetting I got to get out of this drawing mode. But look at this thing. $10,000. Now, it made a lot of trades. So what if I pick a different currency? Now, how much did I make there? 12 grand. Or I made 2 grand. I had a big drawdown. But this is what you'd be looking at. And, of course, here, I don't know how it's going to end out the thing. But let me just switch currency pairs. I just want to see the performance of it. Now, it's going to do better, I think, on the euro because of the stop entry system. And I'm giving it a bad spread to see just how, and it's going to trade through the news. So let's see if I can watch this one trade. I have to wait for the data to gather. Dearly beloved, we gathered here today to watch this robot blow up my script. Now, the thing about it is that now you on the weekends or any time of day you can test a trade plan. So that's the only beauty in this. I can't say that it's that it knows what it's doing, but let's let it think about it here. Okay, so here we are trading on the 4-hour chart. I'm trading the euro to the dollar 4-hour. The robot's trading my script. 4-hour chart. Looks like he's executing every hour. So since I'm running a static risk to reward ratio, it's just doing that. That's it. Now I could edit that script to go for a bigger target. I think I should. So let me go edit that script. So I'd stop the whole thing and restart over. That's always a pleasant sound. That's just so inappropriate, that sound. Like, I might be swearing on my videos, but what the fuck's with that? Okay, that's the scalp. So let me edit that severely and let me put a little bit bigger target on this and then expand my targets way out. So I'm going to feather them out more. So I'm going to go for 8 for my target. I go for 12, so I'll be coming in at 4 chunks, and then I'll make it a little more. I think here's another 4 pips. Now I'm going to go for a 6 pip winner, and let's go for a 32, and I'm going to go for like just straight up 10 pips per ticket now, and I'm going to take 60 pips off the table with a 2K. And let me widen this up so I can stand a little bit more punishment here. I'll go for 12 and a half. I'll go for a 10. So now I'm going to put a little more. Now, I probably change my scalp metrics, right? Because, and let me just go for a liberal 7 pip stop there. Keep the size the same. Keep the entry criteria the same. Depending on how much. I think that's going to run. I think I just compiled. I want to reload that. Pretty sure. Let's start that over again. Let's see what happens. That's going to take some time. Don't forget, this is a buy-only script. Now I'm playing this back. I'm scalping bounces. I'm making money on dead cat bounces here with a buy stop entry. So this is I just rewrote the script to be a different. I'm going to go for a 50 pip target on a 2K here. It's buy only. There's no selling here. This is just the power of scaling and money management. So if you don't believe it, now here, see I've got the streamed out exits here. So if you don't think scaling works, then, here's proof. All right, there you go. So that's what I'm doing. Now, yeah, I'd rather have a robot launch that. This robot's good to go, apparently. Now, this is the 4-hour chart. And look at the sizing, see? It keeps scalping that first burst for however many pips. It's double your money or better. By the time I get to the last script, I think I'm risking like let's say 15 pips to make 50. Now, if I made this sizing the same across, that might be a little tough on your equity, because now you're going to be risking too much. Look at how that was a perfect exit right there. It would have made a bunch of money there, though. So now this kind of back testing makes sense to me. You're not really back testing because the criteria for the event is literally it trades every 4 hours apparently, and you're back testing money management. There's not a strategy here. I don't see a strategy. It looks to me like it gets at the end of the close 4 hours, just like a goof. Let me speed it up to the end here. So I'm going to skip to the end. Let's see what kind of performance. Oh, see, now it's getting killed. And the market could be going up. It could be get kicked out. Four-hour chart, buy only. So now I could make it so it's just break even now. It's not making it, unless it goes, the market goes in a nice uptrend. I guess you can kind of see, it doesn't matter really, because it could get trapped. Since it's getting in 5 pips away, it could get trapped. So it's implementing every 4 hours. There's no filter on that. So you can see if you put a filter on that. Let's see. I'm trying the 15-minute chart. That's only 1 year of data. Oops, see, it won't run on that. Blows up. So, yeah, it just blows up the account. So I don't know about that part of it. And like I say, you can only test it on the 4-hour chart apparently, because, or the daily. This way it only trades once a day. Yeah, it just blows up the account. Too big of a size. You're basically risking so much on that first leg. Now, if you made this all 1Ks, you might survive it. So you'd have to go and make this into a very low risk system. Make all these 1Ks. Or something in between where you have like 3K, 3K, 2K, 2K. But I think that you can see how complicated all of a sudden trading could get. How it's a bottomless pit of algorithms. So people talk about algorithms. I'm like, okay, great. But you realize there's there's an infinite amount of algorithms you could possibly launch. So, you know, I just trade. I could make this so it buys a tenth of a pip away on stops, so it's not a hard stop entry. I mean, you just change one element. Right? Obvious? No? Here's another reason why trading only once a day makes more money. So this is instead of over trading, this is probably just about right? Look at this, a daily chart. This is still with the big scalp out of the gate. It's going to trade much better. It's just obvious that if you try to build a robot to run on the 5-minute chart, it's going to get its ass kicked. This is only trading the daily. How much trading can it possibly do? Right? So it finally made it to $1,000 there. Now it's going to get chopped up. So maybe it trades every other day. And of course, those are crazy numbers, you know. I mean, running a very tight stop, very big. Now I'm going to load the conservative version of that, which is just linear risk across each ticket, where this is really trying to scalp that burst. Just did a lot of trades though. Traded every day. So how many days is that? Or did 4,000 trades, whatever the fuck, I don't even know. I didn't really zoom in to look at that. I think I should have. What the hell happened to it? Here. That's as zoomed as I can get on that. Buys only. So I could put a buy and sell bot in there. It would probably perform a little bit better. You could create elaborate one-hit scripts. So that script would run and do that one task. Let me try it with, now it's going to run the updated version of that and see how it performs. Or it's just going to buy 1Ks, I hope. To find out. This is trading with just 1Ks. See, it didn't work out because it's not scalping out of the gate. So you need to take those pips. You need to trade big with a tight stop and a tight take profit. So it's just proof right there. The way it's written now, that last performance, it sucks because you're not getting, you have to trade big here with a tight stop. So you could even make this, say 20K, 10K, 8, 6K, 4K, and maybe go 4K all the way down here. Now look at that. Now you start over again. See what that looks like. Now I'm trading 20K out of the gate for that scalp. And you see the sizing here. So I scalped those first, the first 7 pips, 7.5 minus the spread and the commission. The spread's 2, so I'm only making 5.5 pips there. 20K out of the gate. See the progressive sizing. Scalp big, swing small. That's executing every day. You can see that all those tickets come in, and we scalp those first few pips there. Makes all the difference in the world. Now I'm going to skip to the end. It's trading once a day. Scalps out of the gate. Sticks around for a possible rally. And quite a bit, actually, 4Ks. Then the next one's a 10K. Kind of scalp orientated here. But keeps the account alive. You got to scalp. So what does this tell you? Learn how to scalp. Right? Not everything's going to swing. Not everything's going to be, you can't run a 17 pip stop. I was telling you right there, you cannot. It's just telling you straight out. You're going to run a 13 pip stop to make 55 pips on a 4K. Okay, that sounds great, but look how much money you can make when you scalp a goober script. This is a buy-only script. Think about that. Now, if I made that this might be my hedge script. I'm not sure. I don't think I put anything in here. There's no hedge on this. Now, it would say buy stop, sell stop. Yeah, this A and this 1 are not the original. This one here I was able to. Now here I could run. It would take some time to make that bidirectional. I have to take this phrase, insert it in, put an equal amount of these guys in. So you'd have to copy that. What is that, 10 times, 8 times? First you gotta copy it here. My computer's really screwed up here. And then we have to go set the same amount. I should have to break these down to 2s. Can't see that much stuff at once. Okay, here's 8. Okay. Then we should probably break the cells from the buys. Now you duplicate all that math and create the other leg of that. And right now I'm just going to do a sizing thing like I did on the other side. I'm not going to duplicate it. It takes too much work at this point. I'm going to duplicate the size issue on that scalp. See if I get any different. Okay, this is critical. You cannot try to make 35 pips on that move. So out of the gate, we'll duplicate these two. It's going to be easiest to do. Also going to get away. It has to be critical that we don't chase it. We're going to get in 5 pips, half a pip away. So here I'll do a vague approximation here. 160, 220. Let me throw in this big winner here. And we're just going to keep this hard stop entry though. And make this go to the 4Ks. So you can see how much work this is. This is what people don't want to do. Even if they knew what to do. I guess that's the other thing. What do I do? Some people will do the work. But some people like, no. Like I said, look at this fucking target's wrong. It was supposed to be 500. So here, that's vague. Now this is going to be a hedge. Run the same thing, see how it makes out on the hedge. So here we actually ended up with some money. Like I said, this is not going to be the best, but it's somewhat better than nothing. We can always, if it's a good idea, we can fine tune it later, right? Let's not get all carried away with this experimentation phase. For what it's worth, I'm doing the bidirectional trading, I think. Yeah, it's selling. It's not symmetrical perfectly. So let me fast forward here and see how this makes out. Okay, it's a bidirectional system. I guess it's making a little bit better. Right? It's doing better, right? Now let me tune that up to be perfectly symmetrical and see how it performs. Then, like I said, the criteria for launching this appears to be every day it trades. It just trades every day regardless. So this is what I was trying, and there's no trailing stop on this. Yeah, I suppose you could write that into the code and everything, but like I don't know how to do that. What I will do is I'll make this perfectly symmetrical and launch it again. So there's this thing about how much effort versus reward, right? We all could do our own landscaping, or we make enough money, we hire somebody. Look, it's getting killed now. So I got killed near the end there, and I suspect that was because the volatility was beyond the parameters. So let me build a symmetrical version of this, see what it looks like. Okay, now it's completely symmetrical. I rewrote it. Running this, and there was a mistake here. A big mistake on this number. I think that's the exact mirror image there. So now it's doing much better, more consistently. This is totally a hedge bot, I would say, for the most part. It looks like it's putting on both legs regardless. So it's a really whichever way the wind blows at the end of the day. System, I call it. Here we're flat. Waiting for the end of the day to put a trade on, I think. Can't zoom in anymore. Can't zoom in any harder than this. it's doing that 20K out of the gate. 10K next scalp. Now I'm just going to fast forward to the end. Let's see what you end up with here. Okay, non-directional trading, completely symmetrical. One criteria, at the end of the day, you get in the trade. And it's keeping its head above water here. Taking a hit. Finally broke out to new equity highs there, trying to get to 13. Okay. Definitely getting hit. Now this is volatility issues here. This is where it got hit last time. Especially when it starts to trade the wrong direction. It's getting a little... That's a lot of trading though. It looks like it's trading every day. So this is 500 days of trading? I don't know. It says the 7,000th trade. Okay, it's getting clobbered now. Volatility issues. The very end there, volatility was a problem. I'm curious to see how it does on the 4 hours. So I'm not sound like a Ryan Brown now. So Ryan Brown might want to take a look at this script there. You know, if I tighten up the spread here, I would do so much better. If I made the spread 10, I'd kill it. Later on, I'm going to try to do the limit bot side of this. It's contrarian trading, really. Limits are just contrarian. Right off the bat, stop entry is confirmation entry. You'd have to say, for the most part. Let me go to a 4-hour chart and see how much better. And the 4 hour is going to trade 6 times a day now. So we made it to 13,000 backed off. We're still up. I mean, this is no worse than a stock that doesn't go anywhere, slightly up. You could get out. You still have your principal available. The rate of return thing cracks me up, though. What's the rate of return on return on investment? Investment in the account. I guess how much money you put in your account. I run the 4-hour playback now. It's going to trade way more. It's going to probably do better on that scalp. I'm just guessing. But it could be over trading now. So 2 pip spread. Pretty tough. It's trying to dig out with a scalp here. Now, I could have made the sizing a little more smoother because those last tickets, of course, you know, if you look at it, the last few tickets on here are all the same size. So you have a linear scaling after this, just in size. Same greedy targets. Now I could take the targets down tighter and make this more of just a burst script. So I take these down to and make the size perfectly smooth. Right. So if I made this 5K spread between sizing, it's got completely different. And maybe here, once you go to here, you start to go like 2 pips apart. Put a notch in here. Take this one to 3. So here you're going to change this dimension. It doesn't take much. It's going to save you a lot of trial and error. I think I fucked that up. Wait, this has got to be, all right, 15. having somebody do this for you, or maybe you're fast at it. Let's look at the 2 pips apart, 2, 1 pip apart. Let's go for a slightly wider stop at the tail here. Okay, and let me tighten up my targets to be more realistic of a normal market burst. 450. So the curve at which this exits the market, I'll have to make this 2 pips away, or make this 3 pips away, because now that you made this size bigger, right, you've got to be less greedy on the exit here, because you got to make that first chunk of money to pay for the greedy targets. Here we drop this to 350. So we're just basically going to burst script where it's just one and done. I used fucking 2 hands on this. Trying to be lazy. Oh yeah, let's go at 350, right? So now you're getting a smoother exit, less I screwed that up. That's gonna be 320, 350. Okay, so now that's pretty much all I did here was I put a little bit softer stop on that, because a little bit wider risk on that, since we're going to get out quicker too. Okay, so compile that. I got to write down all the results here. See, I blew the fucking count up. Look at that. So over trading, of course, it's on the targets are too greedy. You can see that. So 7,600. Now let's run it with the same strategy. Here's the strategy. It's going to be a breakout strategy. Let's see how it performs. Now we're switching to the more of a less greedy and smoother sizing increments. Okay, here's a smoother scaling. Let's see if we can do any better. We ended up $7,000 on the last account. This is less greedy targets. We have a huge shelf of 5K shift between the first out of the gate scalps. And let's see what happens here. Let's skip to the end. It's as fast. It's trading like crazy. Have to wait for that to complete. Come back to this drama. Still blew it up. Just different equity curve. So I'm going to reduce the, I'm going to tighten the stops across the board now. So I got some better results here. What I did was I smoothed out the shelf here. So I feathered out the exits. I tightened up the stop, running a 9 pip stop now, and a 2K. I can make this more dramatic. So I can make this 30K out of the gate, a 20K, and now I can play with the scalps aspect of this breakout strategy. I can come in here with a 10K now. Now I still have to tighten up this exit now. Right? If I make this a scalp script, I got to snug up this and get the fuck out of this trade. I was going to try not to swear on the video, but I just, every now and then, it's just little Tourette's. Just because I remember not getting out, and I think it's, you really have to emphasize that you got to get the fuck out. Like the police are there. Your front door. The scalp police. Now maybe even tighten these up a skosh, right? So now you would go, okay, let's make this 4.2 and 4.8. Now I'm running a 2-pip spread, so this is really, there'll still be 6-pip stops here. So you should already be discounting your efficiency and showing all the flaws in the thing first. That's make a slight difference in the outcome. I actually didn't dial the. I'm going to make this shelf a little bit less greedy too. So I'm going to go 20 pips here. 20 pips. And we'll let the other ones go a little bit greedy here. I'm going to detune this one by 1 pip. Bring this back into, because it's still a 4K. So if you did a percentage, you could do it on a spreadsheet to figure out what the number should be based on a curve or a straight line. And that's 16K total. As soon as you tighten up that stop, though, you definitely tighten up the risk. Now, if I made this one just slightly wider, make this one slightly tighter, this will make a difference in the end. It all adds up. But these are mini mistakes compared to big mistakes. So you're basically, the strategy here is you're spreading out your strategy is layered from a scaling standpoint. Because we finished at 23, somewhere in the middle there. We compiled that. Let's rerun it. After you edit, let's come back. Now it's real aggressive on the top end there, the scalp. And I degreedified the exits. So let's see. The watermark here was about 1320. Okay, let's rerun the same data. It takes forever, so we're going to come back to this. Okay, here's the script I just tweaked. So I smoothed out the, like I let the greedy scripts be small orders, because we may never hit that 400 and that 45 pip target. But I power scalp out of the gate here. So I tighten up these stops. The worst stop here is, in the real world, it's like 11 pips, but this says 9. Don't forget you're overpaying by half a pip already. So this is 95 without a spread and without commissions. Although it's only 2K. Size matters, right? It's progressive script. So I could post this script. You can test it. I'm assuming the guy doesn't care if I post his EA. I guess he can sue me, but I know he doesn't want to be public, so I don't think he'll sue me because he doesn't want to go public. Now this here, I don't know if this affects anything because I didn't play with this, but the script apparently runs after every hour. I put 240 minutes in here. I don't even know if this is the right range for execution. 20 pips? I have no idea. I mean, it's scalping regardless. But now what I could do is, since I like this script, I guess I could take a risk and see if it's going to run on the 1 hour chart without whistling at me. See, it's just going to crash. So maybe I have to rewrite the script to be 1 hour here. I'm not sure. Played around with this, but maybe make this 15. Let's see what happens. It still blows it up. So let's say 4 hour or nothing. Let's try it on the British pound. Now British pound, I know it'll blow it up. Maybe not here. The spread's tight. Because that first order is 30K with a 4 pip, very tight stop. Insanely tight. Let's see what happens here on the yen. The 4 hour blew up the account. But the daily, right here, when this went down, so it overtraded. This is on the daily, I'm sorry, this is 4 hour playback. I ran out the 1 hour, blew up the account. So this is the setting for, daily. It says 4 hour on that. But the end of the story is this is the daily playback. I don't know why it says 4 hours. But, so it does pretty well. I'm going to try it on the British pound now. It probably would be pretty scary. I'm running the daily charts. Okay, so this is the British pound on the daily. Running that script, a progressive script like that. It's done about... So that's what it looks like when you scale. This is not over trading. This is trading once a day. I know it's this 4 hour chart, but I ran that on the daily data. So I don't know why I keep seeing 4 hour chart. Anyways, that's all there is to it.